Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday's Srimad Bhagavatam study. We used to call it Arranged Marriage Tuesday. There seems to be a great deal of fervor for us to actively get on our Wisdom of the Sages dating arranged marriage app.
A great deal of fervor.
I
haven't picked up on it, Raghunath.
It is. Sure. They all
It's not in your
contact me.
imagination.
We got to get that app going. Need it. We'll pay anything.
All right.
Don't you understand there's no human that can make you whole? Isn't it an illusion? There's a person out there. The puzzle piece of my life.
It's not necessarily they're thinking like that. Just
No, you're right. They just want company. That's reasonable. I'm lonely too. Hey, Kaustubha, just a shout out. I'm going to be April 21st in Nashville, Friday, April 22nd in Evansville, Indiana, Saturday, April 23rd, Atlanta, and April 24th in Nashville again. So
and this is a message to Mogaji. Raghunath wants to see you in Nashville. Last time you just dissed him.
Yeah, he just dissed me, Moga.
Moga's an old friend.
Yeah.
Mogaji.
If you're interested in any of these things, direct message Hot Cindy Yoga. That's one word, Hot Cindy Yoga. And I'm hoping to see you, sage people, out on one of those exciting cities. Haribo. Excited to hang with Cindy Lunsford and that whole Indiana crew.
Mm-hmm. Any
other announcements, Miss Mara?
Yeah, Raga, while you're doing shout outs, isn't there a birthday that you need to shout out a happy birthday to?
Birthday?
It's a birthday. Where's that message?
There's also a Bhakti Recovery Group men's meeting at 11 today. The women are meeting at 2. And then tomorrow morning, Bobby Marchand is doing her yin class at 9:45 a.m. for our Patreon members. And tonight, Raghu is doing Sweet Baby Krishna, 7 p.m. again.
Wow.
All right. There is Andrea Quadras, a birthday today, April 12th. She's a beautiful soul, always helping and supporting others, open-minded, clever, smart, and very devoted to householder and yoga and very devoted household teacher. And she's I think from Germany or Zurich, I'm not positive, but supposedly she's a very, very sweet devotee. Giving her a shout out, and she listens to Wisdom of the Sages all the time.
All right. What's her name?
Yeah.
Andrea? What'd you say? Andrea?
Her name is Andrea Quadras.
Okay. Happy birthday.
Andrea Quadras. Happy birthday, Andrea. That was a surprise. She doesn't know that's happening.
Okay.
All right. What's going on?
I think you have a poem, because this is Poem Week.
It's Poem Week here. Wisdom Sages. We like to show how cultured we are.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Rich Mancuso, the pious golfer,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about, he had this trip to Italy, and he was talking about culture and how it's like, there's beautiful art, and but he just came back from Vrindavan in India with us. I hope you don't mind me calling you out here, Rich. He just came back from Vrindavan and Nepal with me, where, it's cultural, but there's like a spiritual, it's sandwiched with this heavy spiritual morning satsang, evening satsang. And we're looking at art. He's looking at art in Italy and the beautiful architecture in Italy. And he's like, there's something beautiful about the culture, but there's something also banal. There's something also mundane. And we're having this conversation. We're thinking, yeah, because art and culture, it's not like they're bad. It's meant to bring you somewhere higher. It's meant to bring us somewhere. We're not anti-art and culture. We're totally into it, but we want to. Art and culture leads you in a direction. What do you think about that, Kaustubha?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he was probably in Rome or Venice.
He was. He did a whole Italian tour. It was every famous city you could think of.
Well, I mean, what I find is that all that art for instance, in Rome, it is taking you there, to a large degree. I think it is. When I was in Rome, I was so blown away. I mean, I was completely blown away by just how jam-packed that place is with unbelievable art. And practically all of it's of a spiritual nature. So
maybe you need, maybe you need a guru, a Dom guru to like show you like this. Instead of just saying, okay, because otherwise what happens is you go like, okay, I'm supposed to see this. Here's a painting I'm supposed to think is attractive. And we're told what should be on our cultural bucket list. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Kita Pri and I went to the Vatican Museum, which I mean, just it's insane, like what's going on in there. It's and but this is interesting. I was sometimes I was kind of like, what do you call it when you when like there are other groups going around with like group leaders that were explaining.
Oh, and you're sort of eavesdropping into their group. Like,
I was just like,
I don't want to pay for the headphones. I'll sneak into yours.
Yeah. So I was kind of just like hanging on the edges, picking up stuff. But what I found was that largely what those group leaders were speaking about was like the political aspects of that art. Like, in other words, like how the artist was summoned, to produce that art, at what time, when, what were the different intrigues what was going on, what one artist was saying about the other artist. But I didn't find any of them kind of capable of going deeper into it and really getting into the spiritual essence of the art.
Well, you're going to need like a Franciscan monk to do that. Like, for example, you can have a tour of Vrindavan. They actually have tours of Vrindavan, you could do that are done in one sense by tour guides.
Right.
But we're not interested in that. We want to go by a devotee who has a taste for it. We don't want a tour of India. We want a pilgrimage to India.
And I found a real contrast between Rome and Assisi, which of course Assisi is like it's a small place, and it's it's more just like a small country kind of holy spot, whereas Rome is a big.
Loves Assisi. That, Samara. He's like,
I know, and you just don't get it, Raghunath. It's like,
Oh, I get it.
No, you don't get it.
I do.
Anyway, any case, in Assisi, it does have some very special art there. It's not quite Rome in terms of like all that it has, but there the whole focus was on the spirituality. It was like the power of that one sadhu. It was kind of like you put Saint Francis up against like all the popes, and like there's no competition. It's like he gets your mind in the right place. You go to his place, and even like everybody's on their best behavior there, like whereas like Rome is just like full on cosmopolitan city.
Squirrel me this. Did you hear that the Pope said there's no such thing as hell? Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear that. No.
Okay, anyway. Mara, search that one out, please. Pope, no hell. Can I read my poem? Enough of these Assisi squirrels, my friend.
Okay. Whose poem? Whose poem?
Edgar Allan Poe.
Is this going to be a dramatic reading?
Of course, Prabhu.
Okay.
It's always drama with me. I'm going to read the whole thing. Is that okay?
Go for it. Yeah.
A Dream Within a Dream by Edgar Allan Poe. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow.
Do you think this is like death? Is he dying? Or are they just leaving? Do you think it's like he's about to die? Do you think that's what's going on?
Well, maybe. Maybe, yeah, or maybe going. Okay, let's read it and then we'll
I don't
take
want to
it
think
apart.
about it. All right. Go.
Take this
Sorry to
kiss upon
interrupt.
the brow. It's
Yeah.
okay. And in parting from you now, thus much let me avow. You are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. I'm feeling like this a lot lately. Yet if hope has flown away in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep. While I weep, oh God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? Oh God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave?
Raghunath, you're screwing up the rhyme scheme here.
Oh, sorry. Oh God, can I not save one from the pitiless
Oh God,
wave?
can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? Oh God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave?
Sounds like you want to do the dramatic reading.
Well, I just want you to
Is
hit the
all
rhyme
that
scheme.
we see or seem but a dream within a dream.
There you go.
Ooh. Oh man, this
Speak to
material
me.
world is such a dream.
Speak to me. How
You know,
so?
I was with Gopal Chandra yesterday. Me and Mare and Rachel went over there, and some of his friends from high school.
Mhm.
And we were just like reflecting. It's like, when did I meet you? And Gopal's like, let's see, went to India 2010. I was like, 12 years ago. 12 years ago. And then his high school friends were there, and he had a friend there who was like his childhood friend that would come to his house when he was little, and his mom would cook for him. And just like, all these things seem like yesterday. They all seem like a moment ago. And this existence that I have now that seems so solid and seems so real and seems so important, and all my worries, which seem really imminent and very important, that too will be dreamlike in a few moments. And then I'll have a whole new face, an elderly Raghunath face. You know what I mean?
A well-groomed one?
Well-groomed by then, hopefully.
Okay.
With disheveled, wrinkled, baggy eyes, bulging nose, bloodshot veins.
So you're saying, and it seems that Edgar is saying, that it's dreamlike, at least in the sense that it's here one moment and gone the next. So
it seems solid, but it
Yeah.
fades.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know about you, but my dreams at night are so vivid. It's like they're more vivid than real life. Like Rachel's sitting behind me, but if you say, what does Rachel look like? I really have to think hard. Like, what does she look like? What does her nose look like? What does her hair look like? But when I have a dream, it is like I've known this person for 100 years. They're like crystal clear people that I've never met, as far as I know. And I'm thinking, like, we're having conversation as if we knew each other. I'm like, and then I'll wake up. I was like, who was that person that I was so connected with that they're completely gone? Or
Yeah.
was I in another realm, another dimension? It's like they were so solid,
less
but it
surreal?
wasn't solid. Huh?
Is that dream, one can ask, right?
Right.
Is that dream within the dream, right? Is it less real? When we dream, is that existence less real than what we wake to?
Sure.
It's a valid question. And in what we're living in right now, is this something that we wake up from as well?
You know when I get this freak out session, Kaustubha? Like you yesterday, Kaustubha called me yesterday from New York City. And I was like, we were having the conversation. I was like, where are you? He's like, I'm just hanging out in Washington Square Park. I was like, oh, I get it. You're reliving the past.
And I said, no, I'm living in the moment.
I'm joking because that was like a hangout.
That's
place
your
of
past.
ours.
Yeah, but it's my.
But my point is, like, when I go to New York City, it's like I lived in New York City in the 2000s. What do we call it? The 2000s? They have the aughts. I lived there in the
Finally
aughts.
figure that out.
I lived there in the 90s. I lived there in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. And the thing is, it's like every corner I turn, I was like, wow, I had a total experience here. I had a total experience here. This decade, I had experience here. I remember before they redid the High Line. I remember before that. I remember what the West Side looked like before that. I remember Avenue A then. And it's just like, it's a flashback in time. And it's almost like everything's changed. It's like Rip Van Winkle. I should read that book again. Rip Van Winkle. He falls asleep and wakes up and everything's different.
Okay, Raghunath, it's worth contemplating. This poem has got you going. But it does make you. It is important that we, as you said, we think everything's so important. And as we've been speaking about for days now, there are two levels of perception or two levels of awareness, right? In one sense, these things are important. There are important. In one sense, like a lot of this stuff is entirely unimportant, right? Like a lot of what we absorb our mind in is entirely unimportant. And then there are other things, like for instance, all just the garbage that we feed our minds, throughout the day, entirely unimportant. And then there's stuff that is relatively important, right? Your responsibilities to your loved ones, your responsibilities, at work and so on. Those are like, they're relative, like they're important in the moment, but in another moment they're going to be gone. And in that sense, they're phantasmagoria as well. And then there's another reality, right? Like in other words, beyond the dream, that there's something that, at least this is what Bhagavatam's telling us, right? That there's something beyond the dream, that you have a connection, a relationship, a way of living and feeling that's beyond all this, that you're meant to wake up to. And that's the reality. Like that's the solid stuff. And as we were reading yesterday, the more that you turn to that, the more that you begin to understand that all the other stuff is a dream within a dream. It sounds like Edgar Allan Poe was kind of like connecting, but from him it's coming like it almost sounds like he's catching on to it without turning to God. Like he's got nothing solid to hang on to, so it's like a lamentation. Or he does say, "Oh God," but he's like turning to God, like, "Can't you keep the illusion going? Like, can't you?"
What to speak of if you're picking up a video game and living in that reality?
Dream within. Well, that's the dream within the dream.
You're a dream in a dream in a dream.
Yeah,
within a dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Mahabharata, the Bhagavatam. We're like, we're in a story, and a story, and a story, and a story. Level 5 sage.
Well, it's but think about it this way: if we are in a dream, like, why do we enter the dream theoretically, right? Why are we in this? If this world is dreamlike, why are we in it? Well, our understanding is that we're in it because we desired something that is impossible to have in reality. So you're given a dreamlike kind of, and you and I have discussed this, right, with like analogies like the toy car or the tractor or whatever, right?
Right.
If a kid wants to drive a car and their parents realize there's no way that the kid can drive a car, but they want something that's impossible to have, let me give them an illusion. Let me give them a toy car, which is a reflection of a car, which is a dreamlike car. And the kid can feel like, I'm driving a car sitting in that little toy car. So then our existence in this world is basically us wanting something that cannot be, right? Mm-hmm. And really that's the position of God. We want to be the center of all reality, right? We want to be the root rather than one of the leaves on the tree.
Yeah, Maya is actually a gift to us because
in a sense,
right? Thank you for illusion, but because we want it.
Yeah.
But, and it's true in this life too. Why am I in Maya? It's because I want Maya.
Right, but it's mercifully programmed in such a way that we don't get lost in it forever because it's dissatisfying, right? Because elements like time and karma are programmed into it that make it uncomfortable or unnatural for us. So we enter into the dream world to enjoy. I want to be the center of adoration, let's say, right? And according to our karma, we experience that as more real or less real. We experience that more deeply or less deeply. But it always goes. It always fades away because time is there. And we realize, that was just a dream. It came. And, like you see celebrities, they go through, or celebrities like, these people have their 15 minutes of fame and then it's gone and there's no way to get it back no matter how hard they try. They embarrass themselves trying to get it back. And there's no way that they can do it. and so, but think about it, or because we find this dream, our current so-called reality, not fully satisfying, it's only because of that we dip into the dream within the dream, right? With the movies, the television, the video games.
Right. I can't be satisfied with what's going on in my dull dream. I've got to create another second reality.
Or we want to just sleep it off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wake up from sleep and we're like, oh, this reality again,
Sure.
But it's only a dream within the dream. Got to wake up.
And within and playing. Just one more on this. And the material world must be filled with anxiety then, because we're all if you're playing a role as if you're in costume, or if you're in disguise. Imagine Cindy Lunsford, Mara, Rachel T. They're all throwing a party, and I come in disguise. Okay. There's always some.
What are you disguised as?
Whatever it is, there's a mustache involved, a false mustache, and a top hat. Okay. Maybe Mr. Peanut or
Mr.
monocle.
Peanut, I don't think he has a mustache, but
he's got monocle and spats.
Okay.
Anyway, you know what spats are?
I don't.
You don't even know, do you? Spats are those things you wear on top of your shoes.
Oh,
we wore them in March. Anyway, wear. This is a super squirrel. Okay. Anyway, my point is, getting back to the point of this, is there's always going to be anxiety when you're in costume, when you're in disguise, because you're in fear of getting found out. And deep down, we all know we're tiny and fragile. We know that I'm not the center. The world doesn't evolve around me. I'm a tiny speck in this universe and a tiny moment in the history of eternal time. And I think I'm so damn cool. That's the disguise we're wearing. We're scared of being found out. Of course, that's why there can be peace in bhakti. You're suffering from anxiety? Come here. Welcome. We can help.
Okay. Thank you, Raghunath.
Thank you. I'm Raghunath. This has been a public service announcement.
All right.
Good morning.
Thank you for Poetry Day number 2, Raghunath.
Okay, we're going to keep it going. Poems all week. Narayanam Namaskrit. Sometimes I start in a high pitch. I'm like, Narayanam. Hey, whatever happened with the Pope?
Apparently
fake news.
Fake news.
Apparently.
Who can you believe nowadays when you can't
Pope
believe
didn't
Instagram?
Say that there's no hell.
So says the Vatican.
Right.
Could be one of those tension things where the Vatican's pressuring.
The Pope is like, no, there is no hell. And the Vatican's like, that's not your statement. Here's what we gave you to read today. There is a hell. People are going to go there. If you tell them there's no hell, watch out. They're going to create chaos.
All right.
I get it. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki. By rendering service by regular attendance in class in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. In loving service to the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and our teachers are opening my eyes with their torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. I was thinking, the Pope, maybe he's trying to say it. Maybe he's trying to say that just because, this sounds too crazy. A little devil with a pitchfork poking everybody, flames, people. Maybe it's just an analogy. I can understand, they want to make Christianity more broad. We're saying there's millions of hells. That's our statement. Here's our public statement. There's so many hells in the material world, one for every different type of inappropriate activity, but they're temporary. That's what we say. Okay, they're temporary. There's lots of hells.
They're also dreams.
And they're also, isn't that interesting? Hell is also dreamlike. And it's only dreamlike, not like it exists in your mind, but it's just temporary.
Okay.
Which I guess does exist in your mind. I don't know.
Okay, let's go.
Let's read it from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Mara.
Canto 4, Chapter 12, Text 10.
All right. Well, this is interesting stuff. What just happened, Raghunath, yesterday?
Uh, Canto 4, chapter 12.
Yeah.
Yesterday
Read
was
from it.
very interesting. Dhruva backed off.
No, well,
Oh,
he backed off
Kuvera.
earlier.
Kuvera. Okay,
There
that's
you
where we were. Kuvera, who's the father, sort of. He's Yakshapati. He's the father of all the yakshas. And Dhruva, in his revenge, was killing all these yakshas.
Mhm.
And Kubera was thinking, hey, you got to chill out here. And then he started praising and appreciating him for all of his bhakti that he had rendered.
Yeah.
And he sort of like weighed out. I'd like to give this guy justice, but at the same time, I'm going to give this guy mercy. And he gave him some blessings. That's where I last remember.
What blessing did he ask for?
Oh, I can't remember. It was something good, though. Something very positive.
Unflinching faith and remembrance of Krishna.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that was an important point. That kind of brought the whole story kind of like full circle, right? Because it began with Dhruva wanting a kingdom greater than his father, wanting revenge, wanting.
Right.
That's the benediction he was searching for. He went to get it from Lord Vishnu, and when he got it, he was just he realized what a fool I am. I completely wasted my time. I asked for the wrong thing. I asked for something temporary and so on. I should have asked, for something like this. So then now we've come full circle. Kuvera offers him a benediction, whatever you want. He's the god of the treasury of the demigods. He can give a lot. And he only
Could have
asked
got anything.
for unflinching faith and remembrance. I want, like when you love someone, you're remembering them all the time. He wants that love, right? He wants his mind always to be absorbed in God. And so that's what he asked for now. And then Kuvera, in text 9, Kuvera was very pleased. Everyone was happy. He granted the benediction to Dhruva, and then he moved on. Now we're going to hear about Dhruva's life, and it's kind of going to be a fast forward. We're going to kind of hear about how he engaged himself and then how he leaves this world. So in one sense, the next series, I don't know, 5 or 6 verses or something like that, each one mentions something about Dhruva's life, how he saw the world or how he behaved within the world, that you could say qualified him to step on that flower airplane and just leave the illusion, right? Leave the dream and ascend to the spiritual realm.
Very interesting here. This is text 12?
I think 10.
Text 10. As long as he remained at home, Dhruva Maharaj performed many great ceremonial sacrifices in order to please the enjoyer of all sacrifices. It's really made easy in Kali Yuga. We just chant.
Chant Hare Krishna.
You know what I mean? Matter of fact, imagine if we have to set up a whole sacrificial pit every day.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
burning flames.
And
Anyway,
do it just right. Chant the mantras exactly perfectly and all that.
Yeah. The Supreme Person. Okay. This prescribed ceremonial sacrifices are especially meant to please Lord Vishnu, who is the objective of all sacrifices, and who awards the resultant benedictions.
It's the Yogya Purusha. Is that the word?
Yogya Purusha. Yeah.
What did it say?
Good name.
Yeah. Okay.
Text 11. Dhruva Maharaj rendered devotional service unto the Supreme, the reservoir of everything, with unrelenting force. While carrying out his bhakti to the Lord, he could see that everything is situated in him only, and that he is situated in all living entities. The Lord is called Achyuta, because he never fails in his prime duty to give protection to his devotee.
Okay.
He's infallible.
So far what we're hearing about Dhruva's life and what qualified him to transcend the illusion is that he engaged himself in sacrifice, right? In other words, he didn't say, oh, this illusion is for me to enjoy. That's the whole purpose of it all. Let me squeeze out as much enjoyment as possible. No, he said, let me take whatever ingredients are here in this illusion and let me engage them. Let me water the root with them. Let me reconnect them with God, like we see Hanuman do, right? Ravana wanted to take Sita for himself. Hanuman, he found Sita, but he wanted to return her to Ram. So in that sense, all the energy of this world, through sacrifice, we return it to God. And through that mentality, we read in this verse that how it affected his vision, right? What he saw because of that. And it says he could see everything is situated within God, and he could see that God is situated within all living entities. That's the vision that we're working towards.
You know what the beautiful thing in bhakti You know, I think I've realized it. I mean, everybody starts to realize this is Krishna takes whatever you have, and he discards what you don't need. All the superfluous things that we carry around that we even think of as part of our identity, it gets discarded oftentimes. And what we really have are real deep spiritual qualities. Krishna takes those and engages them in his service. We engage them in his service, and Krishna accepts them. He asks for them, and he lets go of these things that we don't need anymore. And some of these things that we were so attached to, they just fall away. We're not even interested in them. And then and Krishna, and we're all so unique. It's not a cookie cutter thing, because everybody's different and everybody's got something different to offer back. Previously, it was exclusively used for my ego. And then we slowly, in the process of giving back, we become purified. It's quite an amazing science, almost like a scientific experiment we're entering into.
It's true. Yeah, I like that.
Thank you. Okay. Text 13.
12.
Dhruva Maharaj was endowed with all godly qualities. He was very respectful to the devotees of the Supreme Lord and very kind to the poor and the innocent, and he protected Dharma, or religious principles. With all these qualifications, he was considered to be the direct father of all citizens.
Okay. So he did sacrifice. He developed this spiritual vision, seeing God in everyone. And he was very respectful to devotees and very kind to everyone else, right? And he was giving shelter. He took his leadership role and didn't exploit it for his own fame or enjoyment, but he used it as a opportunity to serve, right? And that loving relationship was there between him and all his dependents.
Text 13. Dhruva Maharaj ruled over this planet for 36,000 years. What? He diminished the reactions of pious activities by enjoyment. What? He diminished the reactions of pious activities.
This is interesting.
By enjoyment, and by practicing austerities, he diminished inauspicious reactions.
Okay.
What?
Well, let's read what Prabhupada says here. He says, there are two kinds of activities, namely pious and impious. Okay, so in other words, certain activities we do bring us good karma, pleasant reactions. And certain activities we do bring us bad karma or unpleasant reactions, right? So pious activity brings you good karma, impious activity brings you bad karma. According to how you act, you get the fruit of that in the future. So he says, by executing pious activities, one can gain facilities for higher material enjoyment. That's the good karma. But due to impious activities, one has to undergo severe distress. That's the bad karma. A devotee, however, is not interested in enjoyment or affected by distress. These are real key sentences here, right? A devotee, however, I'm not interested in enjoyment. I'm not affected by distress. I'm steady in both of them, right? Because I'm connected to that on that absolute platform. When they are prosperous, they know I'm diminishing the results of my pious activities. Interesting, isn't it? In other words, when most people become elated, everything's going great, I'm enjoying. The wise person's like, okay, this is enjoyable for sure.
I'm spending my bank account of sukriti.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, but whatever I'm enjoying right now is going to disappear. It's like a bank account, right? I'm just spending it right now, and it's going to be gone. So don't become too attached to this, because it will be gone soon.
Like a good person who has good with financial astuteness, they're not going to spend so much that they're going deeper and deeper in debt. And so in the same sense, like a transcendental is a person who understands the workings of the universe. If they're feeling some good reactions happening, they're still investing in that sukriti to get more pious reactions, unless they come to this point of bhakti, where they realize, actually, all I want is a spiritual reaction, or all I want is a spiritual realization.
Reality.
I don't care about the piety.
I'd imagine as a parent, you have experiences like this where the child just doesn't get it. Like, in other words, like you take your kid to some amusement park or something like that, something that they're into.
Six Flags.
Okay. And then the day comes to an end. Now the parents realize, this is going to come to an end. The whole, become accustomed with how the world works, right? And that, okay, we have fun for some time and then it's over and life goes on. Whereas the child's like, I don't want to go. Like, why can't, and they become upset or frustrated or crying or something like that, Is it like that as a parent sometimes?
Every moment. Every moment. You got it. Good analysis.
So it just, in one sense, it just means being mature, kind of understanding that, or let me put it this way, let me flip it the other way. If we become elated over the things of this world, our sports team just won the championship, or I just got, whatever it might be, we're kind of like behaving like children. It's kind of like, from a higher perspective, we really don't understand what's going on. So when this verse said, how did it phrase it? He diminished the reactions of pious activities by enjoyment. So in other words, I've got a stock of good karma and bad karma. When I split this world, I don't have a stock of anything anymore, right? So he's burning it off, his good karma by enjoyment. And by practicing austerities, he's diminishing his inauspicious reactions. In other words, I'm voluntarily sacrificing. I'm voluntarily taking up hardships, to serve others. And through that, I'm burning off my bad karma. So Prabhupada writes, a devotee, however, is not interested in enjoyment or affected by distress. When they're prosperous, they know I'm diminishing the results of my pious activities. And when they're in distress, they know I'm diminishing the reactions to my impious activities. A devotee is not concerned with enjoyment or distress.
Great way to look at the world. Great way to look at the world.
And then it says they simply desire to execute devotional service. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that devotional service should be apratiyata, unchecked by the material conditions of happiness and distress. I really noted that because it's coming from such a famous verse, where ahoitiki apratiyata.
Right.
Unmotivated means I'm not doing it for anything of this world, but also apratiyata, which Prabhupada in that verse translates it as uninterrupted. But here it kind of clarifies, means it's not affected by happiness or distress. My elation or with the good things that happen don't interfere with my devotional service, or the distressful things. I'm steady through both. Apratiyata.
Yesterday we in Sweet Baby Krishna, we were having this conversation about good and bad, and oftentimes people will argue, well, what is good and what is bad? What's good to me is that's good to me, and what's good to you is good to you. And we were quoting, Mary, you want to pull that Bhagavad Gita verse up? We're talking about the 16th chapter and how it's not like it's good or bad. It's just like there are qualities that you can do, because we were talking about Dhruva Maharaj has godly qualities. And some people can even take offense, like, godly, what is that supposed to mean, godly qualities? There are activities in this world that make us feel liberated, free, at peace. You want to read those, Mara? You have them up?
Yeah.
From the Garga Samhita?
No, this is from the Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter.
Yeah. Fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities belong to godly men endowed with divine nature.
So it's this idea of good and bad. Yes, there is a good and bad. We believe that things that help us attain peace, tranquility, peace of mind. I can move in the world freely and not feel overwhelmed, overburdened. Those are good things. Then, of course, there's the bad things, which are that next verse.
Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature.
So it's one of those things that you read through them, you're like, freedom from fault finding, didn't get that one, or like fearlessness, not that one, but arrogance, check on that one. And you might find like I'm leaning towards the demon. We have all of them within us, and whatever we choose, it makes us more godly or demonic, right, or ungodly. It really means that we have this body and mind, This was my analogy. Tell me what you think about this, Kaustubha.
Okay.
This body and mind, we've been given this, and get rid of the idea of wrong and right. There's ways that this body and mind function in this world and are at peace, and there's ways to ruin it and complicate it. If I have this iPhone and I put it underwater, that's not good for the iPhone. You can put it under the water. You might be able to use it as a in a bathtub. A little kid could use the iPhone as a boat. It's just not the way that the iPhone functions.
I think it'll make a very good boat.
And it doesn't make a good boat either. So in the same way, we can do whatever we want with our body, but the mind and our thoughts, etc. But it's the Gita or the instructions from the Vedas that are telling us, here's the best way to utilize this so you can have peace, prosperity, peace of mind, live a joyful life. Those things are good things. Everything else is going to complicate your life. And it's not even a value judgment of what you choose to do. It's sort of an instruction manual.
Yeah. So what's going to be favorable for your uncovering your own true nature? You're not going to be truly happy and satisfied until you get there. So whatever facilitates that, we could call good, right?
We call good. There is good and bad. We hate to break it to people out there. No, there's no good or bad. There's good or bad. I want this thing to function properly.
In another sense, there will be verses saying that within the material realm, there's no good or bad, right? But it's not talking about morality there.
Right.
It's just talking about the relativity of what our mind has identified as pleasant or unpleasant.
All right. Moving on. Text 13. Text 14. The self-controlled great soul Dhruva Maharaj thus passed many, many years favorably executing 3 kinds of worldly activities, namely Dharma, right? Religiosity. Artha, economic development, and Kama, satisfaction of material desires. Therefore, he handed over the charge of the royal throne to his son.
Now this gets. Go ahead. You want to say something?
Nothing. No.
Okay.
I got
so
nothing.
We just read about how Dhruva lived, right? He was sacrificial. He was, and again, in this context, we can understand that means like he didn't try to enjoy the things of this world. He tried to engage the things of this world in the service of God, and he did that even practically as well as, let's say, ritualistically, right? To deeper cultivate that. The ritual is done to deeper cultivate that mood or that awareness. He manifested all these good qualities. He was very respectful to people. He was very kind to people. He took his service up, and people loved him for it. And he kind of burned off the good and bad that comes with that. By doing our worldly activities, we're going to get some good karma, some bad karma. He tolerated what was pleasant and what was not pleasant, and stayed focused on serving. And so that's how he lived, right? And now he's become qualified. Now what he's doing is, and this is the point I want to make. He's got all this opulence, and he's got all this power, right? But he's not attached to it. And so as soon as someone was ready to take that responsibility, he was ready to hand it off, right?
Pretty impressive.
And it's very impressive, but it also shows, again, what we've been talking about for the past few days. Because he's a king, he has to have his consciousness really largely dedicated to that level of awareness, which is like the material realm, right? Like the relative stuff.
You got to be in the relative world to.
But now he's going to hand it off to someone who's more qualified. As he's getting older, he's not trying to hang on to that power. He's handing it off because now he wants to engage his mind more fully in the absolute, right? If I'm not responsible for the economy of this nation, right? If I'm not responsible for the protection of this nation, if I'm not responsible for A, B, C, D, and all these different things, now I can absorb my mind more fully in the absolute, in God. And that's really how Vedic culture was designed. We don't live in that world where, we have kids when we're in our young 20s. By the time we're entering our 40s, some do.
Rich Mancuso did.
Good for him.
I think.
So, but then hopefully Rich Mancuso's kids will be ready to support him when he hits like 45 or 50, right?
He's hit 50. He's in there.
that
He's
was
in the
that
50
that,
camp.
that was ingrained in that culture. So when you hit 50 years old, your kids are taking care of you. Now you can absorb your mind more fully in the absolute, and you don't have to be so absorbed in the relative. And so because he was unattached, because he was dutiful, because he followed the Dharma so well,
I thought we were talking about Rich Mancuso. You're talking about Dhruva Maharaj now. Okay.
I'm talking about them both.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, he is pretty good. Yeah, he is good.
So Dhruva was ready to easily let go of it all. He had a taste for absorbing his mind in the absolute, and by giving away all his power, he could more fully do that. Giving away his responsibility and power, right? Yeah.
It's an amazing quality to be really in this world, but not of this world. Like you're acting as if like this is the eternal place, and you've got duties and important functions and responsibilities, but you understand like actually this is all the dream. I'm using this world to escape the dream. Actually, you're using the things of the dream to escape the dream. That's what's going on. You're using the things of the dream to escape the dream. That's what we're doing in Bhakti. You got some dream-like talent. You're going to use that to escape the dream.
Because that talent will go away, but what it takes you to will be eternal.
Right. People say they solve math problems sometimes in their dreams. You know, this is like it's you use the dream to escape the dream. Boom. No one else is impressed. Mara's like looking out. There's a couple golf claps out there. Okay.
I was like, okay, but maybe not a bumper sticker.
Come on. All right. Put that up with the other takeaways, Mara. We'll see how good it is. We got 5 minutes left, though. You want to stop there, Kaustubha?
Maybe because, well, you know, like the verse that we're just about to hit was really the one, the dream verse. Maybe we hit it now, but maybe we could pick up on it tomorrow if we want to. Let's see.
What did you say?
I'm saying, why don't we go ahead and read the next verse?
One.
And
right.
we could also, if we want to, because there's not so much time to discuss it now, we could start again with it tomorrow. But let's read it right now.
Okay.
So this is text 15.
Srila Dhruva Maharaj realized that this cosmic manifestation bewilders living entities like a dream or a phantasmagoria, because it is a creation of illusory external energy of the Supreme Lord. Phantasmagoria.
What is a phantasmagoria?
I don't know. It's sort of like I don't know what it means.
It's a sequence of real or imaginary images like those seen in a dream.
She's like fast on the draw. How did you do that?
You've been waiting for that.
Were you anticipating that
one
question?
takeaway from private school is that one word.
Wow. Say that again.
A sequence of real or imaginary images like those seen in a dream.
Okay, phantasmagoria.
Very good.
So why don't we pick up on this verse tomorrow? Because I think there's more to talk about this dreamlike state.
Yeah, this was good. Mara, what can you give us to take away today for the rest of the day?
All right. The material world is a dream within a dream. Our existence and worries and bodies are dreamlike, here 1 minute and gone the next.
Yeah.
Is the dream less real than what we wake to?
Is it?
There's a question takeaway.
Yeah, I like having a question takeaway.
Yeah. Question.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Maya is a merciful gift to us with time and karma programmed to make us uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Maya. Thanks, Maya, for the gift. Can I re-gift this?
There's always anxiety when we're in disguise.
Yes, that's my t-shirt. There's always anxiety in disguise. There could be a picture of me in disguise too.
As Mr. Peanut.
Yes.
I like that. Let's get Leslie Venti on a meme of that, please. We're tiny and fragile and the world doesn't revolve around us.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Krishna engages what you have and discards what you don't need.
He does.
Yes.
Use the dream to escape the dream.
Boom!
I don't know about that one.
Like it.
Maybe. No, that was a good one.
Our choices make us more divine or demoniac.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Bhakti, a cure for anxiety.
There we have Bhakti, a cure for anxiety. Every day.
Now, there's a lot going on the chat board here, right? Chapu came up with like an incredibly appropriate quote here, but I think we can hit that tomorrow. But also, little Karuna knew the verse that we quoted. Maybe we
I
can get
saw
her.
that. I saw that. It seems
Where's
like
Karuna? Where is she? Can we unmute her?
Kaustubha's all over the chat board.
Seemed like he was reading the chat board while I was sharing the
I
takeaways.
was.
Interesting.
Well, where's little Karuna? Where did she go?
Yeah,
I'm wearing-
yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So, Karuna, you're going to chant this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah, Savarkum Sham.
Yeah, that's the one.
Savarkum Sham Paro Dharmaya to Bhakti-yogi Ahotakya Pratihataya Yatma Suprasidati.
Oh, man.
Boom.
It's fast.
Very
it's fast,
good.
too.
Very good. It was fast.
So what does that verse mean? Do you know? Can you say the translation, or at least kind of?
You're doing good. You're doing good. It'll all
still with
manifest as you get older. You're only 8.
No, Jesus. So that what? How about you, Raghunath?
Savai Pum Shampra, the supreme occupational dharma for all humanity is that by one gets to the point of love of God, such devotional service has to be unmotivated and uninterrupted to fully satisfy the self.
There we go.
Oh, ba-boom-ba!
What is that? Ba-boom-ba.
Ba-boom-ba! Here we go, people. It's going to be one of those days. Woo! Thanks, everybody, for joining us, making me laugh out there. Thanks for everybody who came on Zoom where I got to spy in their house.
We got to hand it to both Karuna and Mare today. They were like fast. They're like
They were on it today. They were on
and
it.
Chapu, she got it. We're going to read her thing tomorrow, too. Good stuff coming out.
Good stuff. If you want to join us here on Zoom, email Mare, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Hoping I'm going to see you in Atlanta or Indiana or Nashville, Tennessee. If you're not following us on Instagram, what's our Instagram account? Search for Wisdom of the Sages.
wisdom_of_the_sages.
I hate the underscore thing. It's so like underscore. I always get lost. But anyway, you can follow us on Instagram. Also, follow us on YouTube. It's fun to watch it on YouTube. You know why? Because you see the faces and the expressions. And if you're on YouTube, you got to like it and you got to follow it. Matter of fact, even if you don't watch us on YouTube, just subscribe to the channel and comment and stuff like that. It's good for our
Hit the
It's
bell.
good for doing what we do. I had a realization yesterday, Kaustubha.
Yeah.
I'm going to chant the holy name all over the world. That is my mission. Chant the holy name all over the world.
Maybe just chant the holy name in one place.
No, I'm going to chant it all over the world.
Just
I'm going
like
to
in
chant
one
it all
place.
over the world.
Maybe if you
In
chant
one
it like
place,
really deeply in one place.
points
it
of
will-
the world.
But if you sit in one place and chant it really deeply, maybe it'll go around the whole world.
I'm going around the world.
I think you got to stay more in one place.
It's just like me and him every day.
Like Rachel, it's like, yeah, tell him, Kaustubha. Tell him to stay in one place. We got a Super Soul
Rachel,
Academy.
you got to
pull
tell
together.
him the whole wide world.
The world will come to you now, Raghunath.
The world wants you to stay. The world wants me to go. Oh my God. Time's ticking by, people. I'm wrinkling. I'm wrinkling up here like a medjool date.